Hola, Frill Talk, and welcome to a new episode of Frill Talk. Today, I have the lovely Mizzy with me. Hello. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little bit suffering in the heat, but doing my best. So tell me about yourself. What J fashion styles do you wear, and how long have you been wearing J fashion?
So I wear a little bit of everything. 'Cause I like to collect things, and so I really love just trying out the different styles. And like I've always done just kind of like a general Harajuku. Like when I was in like high school, I was just like, I want to do this in some way. And
Mhm.
so even though I was mostly trad goths at Visual K kind of in high school, I would have days where I was dressed up in a way that was like almost like baby decora. Because this was in like the early 2000s. So it wasn't like I could just get things everywhere. And we didn't really have where I live at, we didn't really have shipping as an option for most things.
Mm.
Like it wasn't until um the last like 10 years that we got like Amazon shipping kind of can come to our house
Oh wow.
because we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Wow. So
So
what drew you to J fashion?
so I really it's so odd to think about because like I've literally like always just loved Japanese culture and like anime and manga, and I wanted to look like the characters in all of
Mm.
the books that I was reading. And so, and it didn't help that my mom loves clothes. She doesn't like my style. She dresses a little bit more bougie on a day to day, but like she had like 200 pairs of shoes like at one point, and
Wow.
I take after her full stop. Like,
Wow, that's so awesome. Was your mom a part of your inspiration for like
well, she
clothing
definitely
inspiration at all?
inspires me to get like to just wear what I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And like she really gave me that freedom when I first like when I was just old enough to like dress myself.
Mm.
Uh that was when Lizzie McGuire was all the rage. And so I had every single Lizzie McGuire outfit, and that was kind of like I was like I can dress like this. And it kind of started it off.
That's so cute. I love that. I love that you have a supportive parent. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't as lucky having supportive parents.
They still make fun of me, but they love.
So what inspired you to wear Lolita fashion?
So I've always been kind of interested because they always have the like cameo in the
Mm-hmm.
anime where the one character is trying on Lolita for the first time, and you're just like, you look like a little doll. You're so cute, and everyone's like, stop. And I'm just like, that is so extra, and it takes up so much space, and I love that. I love the how much space you take up in Lolita. So I was like, in 2020, I had started a warehouse job and I
Mm-hmm.
was making like bank. Now, I left that job because honestly, not safe at all, like in any way, shape, or form. But I was making like 25 an hour and
Mm-hmm.
I was doing like 82 hours a week, like
Wow.
racking in the dough. So I was like, this is the perfect time, if any, to just jump in to something. Because before it felt so intimidating, right? Because you
Mm.
see all these people and they have this like wardrobes they've been working on for years, and you get so afraid to just do it. You're like, oh, I can't do it. Or you hear about people being called Ida, and you hear about like the whole behind the bows. And you're like, oh, I'm so scared that's going to happen to me. So then you don't do it. And I was like, in 2020, I was like, I'm nearly 30. I might as well just do it. So I jumped in and then just kind of kept up with it, I guess, because I really
Wow.
love it.
I love that. I love that. Has your style evolved since you started wearing Lolita in 2020?
Definitely, because like I understand like there's rules to Lolita,
Hmm.
but they weren't that strict when Lolita started. It was more like a guideline. And
Right.
so when I do Lolita, just try to keep the vibe, but I also like change it up and like try to mix a couple things in there. Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, I want this to be like a decora Lolita outfit, but not like OTT sweet, but kind of like whoa, and like mix rave wear into it to really get that crazy vibe that I'm going for.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, okay, this isn't a costume, but if I mix it with, like this Lolita dress is like, oh, this one looks like something Usagi would wear from Sailor Moon. It's all mixing a bunch of like cosplay pieces into it, and suddenly it's like transformed into this like in like wild thing. So I just kind of try and mix up everything. I don't know. I just want to have fun with it in whatever I do. And I'll be more strict with the rules of Lolita when I'm doing not Lolita outfits, and I'll cord like a regular outfit as if it were Lolita. So like adding the petticoat or adding a blouse underneath or something silly just to kind of elevate a regular outfit in a way that it follows the like rules differently.
Mhm. That's nice. I like that. I do love, I mean, in earlier like early 2000s and part of the early 2010s, like the Lolita rules were definitely like people were more strict about that. But lately it has been a lot more flexible and people are more open-minded and more willing to like experiment with like Lolita and meshing it with like other day fashion styles. So that's really great. I love that. Do you have any favorite brands?
Um, for brands, I'm not 100% sure because I don't have a lot of like big name brands. It's all a lot of like one dress here, one dress there. Um, I do love like Sleepyland
Mhm.
and Violet Vein. Even though my Violet Vein dress has not come yet, I'm so excited. It's part of the the nostalgia one they did and the spooky.
The Otome
And
nostalgia.
yes, I
Nice.
am so excited. I got like the yellow one that's supposed to be closer to old school, but like it just gives me pizza vibes. And I was like, I love this.
That's so
So like,
cute.
yeah, I love those. And like, oh, Dolby Shop. I love Dolby Shop for Lolita brands. I have their the pastel carousel. I have like all of it. I bought one of everything.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Yeah, that print was so cute. I'm just more of a pink girly, so if it was like more pink, I would definitely like would have gotten it because the motifs are so cute, honestly. So you mentioned when you signed up for Frill Talk about consumerism and its disruption to DIY in alternative fashion spaces. Could you
Yeah.
expand on that?
Yeah, so like I know the easiest way to point it out is like in Gothic fashion, it really started with people like dyeing clothes that they thrifted. You're putting the safety pins in there, you're ripping the fabric, you're making patches to make like patch pants and stuff. But nowadays, you can just go and you have like black milk clothing, you can just buy all of it. Like you can go on to, I mean, you can go on to Shein. It's not going to be the same quality, but they just have all of these. You just type in whatever aesthetic and then core, and then boom, it's all these clothes. And so most of the people will see you wearing something alternative, and the first thing they think is, where can I buy that? And you tell them you made it, and they're like, well, you're gatekeeping unless you tell me verbatim how you made it. And it's like, not everyone wants to break down how to make it, but also it takes like 5 seconds to Google something. It just feels like our attention spans have gotten to the point where we want that instant gratification, and if it's going to take us to have to think creatively or to work for something, we're less likely to do it. Like with Lolita, in like when it started, a lot of the books that came out, like Lolita, the Gothic
Novel
Lolita
Lolita
Bible
Bible.
and all that, it has like the patterns and illustrations of what the patterns look like and how to make them, because it was just starting out and it was like, this is how you do it. And so you could make your own dresses, and if you look at like old photos, not all of them are wearing brand. A lot of people just make things. And nowadays, everyone is just like, oh, where can I buy this? And they just want to have the next thing because you want what's popular. You want what everyone else has because it's like a status symbol saying, I have the hottest thing. But it's not that cool to be like, oh, yeah, I made this from a tablecloth, even though I think that's awesome and I do that all the time. It's like the idea of consumerism and influencer culture has kind of taken this, like the origins of DIY, and made it less relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people forget that you don't have to buy it, that you can just make it. And I feel like more people just need to know like it's okay to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Like as someone that I wouldn't consider myself like a physically creative person, um, and that's part of the reason why I like to do like either thrifting or like vintage shopping. Um, it just feels like people really don't appreciate garments and like the construction of garments, like because at the end of the day these are clothes, right?
Yeah.
They're made by someone, like they're not made by these big factories, like like RIP Forever 21, for example. Like all of their stuff were made in like factories and sweatshops and etc. Like that's not the case for most Lolita brands. Like it's usually like a couple of designers and artists, creative people that are behind the bows in this
Yeah.
case. So have you personally witnessed like the shift from handmade or small scale to like production in like a sub style?
Mostly with like goth fashion, but like with Lolita, I mean, of course, all Lolita is like there's not really a mass produced. It's still in smaller batches, but I feel like people think that to be Lolita, you have to get the brand dresses.
Right.
And the focus shifting from, oh, I can just make this to be Lolita to, oh, you don't have a brand dress, that's not Lolita.
Mm-hmm.
That shift there, really.
Right. 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 Yeah, and it's phenomenal when we do see Lolitas that make their own dresses. Like
Yes.
there's this one Lolita YouTuber that So Black, or I think her name is So Black on YouTube. She makes, or excuse me, they make their own dresses and like they show like tutorials and stuff. And it's like amazing, like just seeing like the care and like the process of something like that. Like mind you, like I probably would never make a JSK, but I do appreciate the process of making a JSK and etc. Even though apparently making a JSK is pretty easy from what I've heard.
Yeah, like I'm working on I'm trying to we're workshopping it because I didn't realize how difficult it is to write a DIY. Like, 'cause you
Mm,
think of visually showing people is a lot easier than trying to explain, like, this seam to this seam. And, it's
mm,
weird to kind of, I don't know, to explain.
yeah.
But the next issue of Jaded, I'm working on a article for a DIY for a JSK and like a skirt. Because the skirt is easy. The skirt is like stupid is easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the JSK can only be a little bit more difficult. It's just because there's more pieces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it is loads of fun. I know I don't really participate, like talk with people a lot, but on the Lolita Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wallflower a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one person who posts their cords that they make all the time. And like they made one not that long ago using like in the old like Barbie ballet sheets.
Oh
They
wow.
made it like a OP and it was gorgeous.
That's
And I'm just
amazing.
like, ah, and I'm like, yes, I love to see this.
Yeah, and then something that comes with it is when people see like handmade pieces and then they see the price tag. A lot of times it can be a little bit higher because it is a labor of love and there's more going into it versus like a billion people working on the same piece. How do you feel about that?
Well, like it makes sense when something's going to be higher. And like I understand if something's expensive, but that doesn't mean that it's overpriced. It just means it's out of your price range.
Right. Yeah.
And like I've wanted to kind of sell some of my pieces myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I find it really hard to price things because I'm like, I want people to be able to buy it, but I also know like if I worked on something for like 3 days, that I spend time and energy and probably stab myself more than once with a pen.
Mhm.
And like you really like you want to be able to support these things even if they're expensive. It could just be hard to find like that balance because I mean it's going to be expensive and it's like you're like, well, why would I spend $300 on a handmade dress if I could just get it from brand? And it's like, well, this one's probably better made
Mhm.
because this one's one person spent all their time only on this dress versus a company that's just kind of pumping it out, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what do you think there's still like a space for DIY and like handmade culture in J fashion?
I think there is. I think most of it is just reminding people that they can do things themselves and that they just have to try. Because even if your first attempt isn't very good, you just do it again. You
Mhm.
just keep practicing because practice makes perfect. And it's like my first JSK isn't fantastic, but the last one I made is infinitely better. And so every time I make one, I'm getting better and better at it. And I think encouraging people to think creatively and to try new things is how we grow in the community and how we cut back on like excess like stuff. Like I thrift a lot of fabrics
Mhm.
because I like to cut back on textile waste because the textile waste industry is absolutely atrocious. And so I like to go out, I'll buy sheets, I'll buy curtains, I'll buy just like clothes that are like torn or they have a stain that's like you can't just tailor it to fix it. And I'll just reuse a lot of the material because it cuts out on things that would normally go to a landfill. And I
Mhm.
think encouraging more people like, hey, this is fabric, it would normally go to a landfill, just try it. Just try.
Right. Right.
And just encouraging because there is no wrong attempt. It's all like good ways to learn.
Right. Right. And something that I think people there may be like a misunderstanding. So Lolita fashion is a slow fashion,
Yeah.
right? But because that consumerism, you know, how do you feel about that, or how do you kind of differentiate the two?
So, like, it can be really difficult because people really want things now.
Yeah.
And that instant gratification can make it hard for people who want to be in Lolita fashion because
Mhm.
they're used to, like, I don't know,
2 day
like,
shipping.
huh?
2 day shipping.
Yeah, like 2 day
Yeah.
shipping. They're used to there being like a new like line of clothes like every week,
Mm-hmm.
like to the day, when that's not really how Lolita works. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
how slow fashion works because it takes time.
Right,
It's
right.
not meant to be mass produced. It's meant to be made in like extremely small batches, like one of a kind, handmade kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So people forget how difficult it is to manage that with the vast amount of people who really, really want to be involved. So it's it's just I guess it's more about educating people, like reminding them like these are real people, these aren't machines. And if you want to be in this community, you have to learn how to kind of wait.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think people just only like pay attention to like, like the bigger Japanese brands like AP, it seems like they're just pumping out something like every like week.
Yeah.
And then, when we see Chinese indie brands, there's so many brands that it seems like they're always pumping out something, but I think it's more so of like because there's so many Chinese brands, there is so much variety, but they don't necessarily are pumping out like every week like AP, at least from like what I'm seeing. So then in that case, what role when it comes to like social media and like brand marketing, how do you feel like it helps in shaping people participating in J fashion versus like 10 years ago, let's say?
Well, it definitely like with social media, that people can participate a lot more in J fashion now because like it's not something you just stumble across. Like
Mhm.
when I was younger, I didn't really have like a lot of internet access and we didn't have great uh internet reception anyway.
Mhm.
But like J fashion was something I would learn about like by actively looking it up because I was into anime and stuff. So I would look for it that way by learning about the cultures in Japan.
Mhm.
But nowadays, you'll just be on your For You page and it'll pop up at random. So a lot more people can get into it, which does bring it more into the mainstream, which is where you have some issues with, consumerism because other brands like, I mean, we've all seen Hot Topic. They put out their like Lolita-esque
Yeah.
skirts and
Coquette. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it more mainstream, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's not that I want the newer generation to have to like hunt down things like we've had to do back in the past, but it feels like because it's less authentic items and it's kind of like made to emulate that. And I think that's great for people that just want to get started in the
Mm-hmm.
fashion just to try it out. Like you don't want to drop $300 on a dress if you end up hating it. So it's cute to get like a cute little thing here or there, but it makes people think like that. I don't know. It just takes away some of the authenticity of it. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm. I think I
described.
understand. Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Um, because like at the end of the day, like, these all of these items are there's always a real person like behind them, especially like, indie brands. And I think it's just unfair for us to compare it to like AP or like Baby, where obviously they have more funding to them, so they have more resources and such versus like um any like US indie brand that may just be like a team of like one person.
Yeah, and like they'll their only option to sell may be like Etsy or
Right, right,
Shopify, and they can't
right.
really just advertise it to everyone. So it's really just luck
Mhm.
of the draw or Instagram and word of mouth. And like that's
Right.
how we find each other.
So you mentioned you've explored a lot of J fashion styles such as decora, visual K, gyaru, fairy K. How have you seen these styles evolve over time, if you have?
Well, like decora, I feel like we see more people trying to learn what it is, and I see it evolving in like the way people are approaching it. Like instead of doing all of your clips on your hair, you put them on, your hat and then do that,
Mhm.
which works great for people with like sensory issues. Because a lot of people who really are interested in these fashions might have felt intimidated. Like, you get in Lolita, you step outside and you're like, this is great. And you go home and you're like, let me just take it all off. I can't do it anymore. So I feel like it's kind of evolving to fit, more people and like what you can tolerate, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, but like a lot of things I see are like evolving over time or like our understandings of the subcultures. Like
Mhm.
I know there's a big difference with like the way we do like gyaru in the East versus how we do it here in the West.
Yeah.
Same thing with Lolita. And a lot of that is about communication and just cultural differences. Like, we don't have the same, like, party culture that they have over there available to younger gals. And over here, we understand, like, not over tanning and it turning into, like, blackface or appropriating hairstyles, which can happen, and it's a different culture over there, and they don't I guess understand the implications of it, or if they do, they a lot of times the gals, they will get a little upset if you bring it up.
Hmm.
And it's a different culture. Same thing with Lolita, how when in the early 2010s, they were like, if you don't have over the knee socks, like how inappropriate. But in reality, it was like a mistranslation of somebody being like, yeah, over the knee socks are great, but it's not like required. But it came across to people in the West as if you don't have over the knee socks, it is not Lolita. That is so inappropriate. You know?
Yeah, I mean, over time, thankfully, it's been more open-minded because there was a point even like hair was like a thing, in
Yeah, like
manga.
back in the day, like in the
Mhm.
early 2000s or in the 2010s, like no colored hair because it was too costumey. Um, they like cat ears were a big no-no, things like that. And like nowadays, it's like every brand and their mother has cat ears or little
Yep.
sheep.
Yep.
And
Yep, or bunnies or something.
yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. Like if like even like like a few years ago, AP at least used to do a lot of like Disney like dress collabs. And they made like cat ears or something. Like I know it was like a beret for the white cat Marie. It's like, yeah, like this is like perfect to have cat ears with. So what's the
Right.
do you see any do you see more overlap between styles now than there used to be?
Um, kind of. And I mean, it depends too, because like with gyaru, like I only really got into gyaru like the past year.
Mhm.
But it really fit well because I really liked bimbo core when that was really like popping off. And, and so it like fell into each other really well.
Mhm.
Um, but like gear like you have the whole discussion with like gals and GRK.
Mhm.
And, you know, there was a lot of animosity there, especially with Mars shifting to more of the JRK. And
Yeah.
then, like, it really feels like Gyaru, that's just like the new subcategory coming straight off of Gyaru.
Right, right,
And I
right.
think the fear of change is what made like that animosity. Same thing with like Cult Party K is very like Mori K.
Mhm.
But it's just like slightly it deviated enough that it made its own category, but it's almost like that's its parent. It's right here. People
Right.
are just afraid of change, and so they don't want to like let it happen, even if it's natural for fashions to evolve like this.
Right. And like even with like Jiraiya, it's kind of crazy like how much like that blew up.
Yeah, yeah,
Like enough that there's like actual like stores in Lafayette and Harajuku dedicated to Jirai. And like kind of going back to the conversation regarding
okay.
consumerism and like fast fashion, some people do, or rather a lot of people consider Jirai as fast fashion. How do you feel about that?
I mean, anything can be fast fashion if you mass produce the clothing.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can get decora fast fashion off of Shein right now. They have Lolita dresses on Shein right now.
Yeah.
But it really depends on the quality of the fabric. And like there are plenty of GREK blouses that are perfectly fine
Hmm.
and they're not fast fashion. And like yeah, it did just pop up,
Hmm.
but we are also having to see like the differences in the quality and as it evolves. And so, like, I don't think it's fast fashion unless it's, you know, crappy quality and they're putting out something new every week. And a lot of what I've seen with GRK is kind of the a lot of the same thing, especially because
Hmm.
I mean, it is newer. So
Right.
it is a lot of just copy paste.
Hmm.
Which is makes sense. I mean, it's I don't expect them to be like, let me just bop out all these bangers right here.
Yeah, because do you think like new subcategories are still emerging? Like, I mean, Jedi is one that was kind of popping off, and
Yeah.
even like in decora, we have neo decor, which is like the
Yeah.
next generation of decora. Like, how do you feel? Do you think if there are?
Yeah, like there's always gonna like it's not a live fashion if it's not evolving and if it's not birthing new styles. Same thing with like Court Party K. It's still pretty relatively new, like, and it's very like ethereal
Mhm.
and it just it's going to keep happening because everyone's going to take it and just like how you take it and you start to get comfortable in your fashion and you take it and you make it more you. So it's like it's not just Lolita, it's your Lolita and it's how
Mhm.
you interpret it. And then that inspires someone else. And so then it's slowly like it's like the what's that what's it the hot dog game where you whisper a word?
Oh, yeah, like telestrations or like telephone or
Telephone.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you like you whisper a word and it slowly evolves. And
Mhm.
so you can kind of see where it came from,
Mhm.
but it's just it deviates to a point where you're like, well, that's not that anymore. And so now it's completely new. And
Mhm.
I love watching the evolution. It's so entertaining to just see how everyone kind of changed it a little bit at a time until we have something so different, but like you can almost see where it was the same. Like,
Yeah. So you mentioned Cult Party, Kay. What
yeah.
draws you to that?
Oh my goodness. So when I first saw it, I was just like, it's got like that haunted doll kind of vibe. And I was really interested in Mori K, but I don't like brown because I have brown hair and I feel like it's too much brown. Just like I steer clear from chocolate Lolita prints. Like I'm more of a strawberry. But when I saw it and I'm like it's all these it's clearly like a lot of layered thrifted bits. It looks like a haunted doll you might see at the back of an antique store and I don't know. I love how like organic it is because it's something you can just make from stuff in your closet. You don't even have to go out and get anything. And it's not really something I see like a lot of brands doing.
Mhm.
Like it's a lot more of you DIY it yourself. You
Mhm.
cobble together a bunch of stuff to and figure it out. And I like that. I like that you have to think about it to get to
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with Morike at least, like it's like there's a bigger emphasis on like really coordinating your outfits and like really finding pieces like either like vintage or like thrifting. Like I feel like that is like a really good sub style for like folks that maybe perhaps want to like get their creative fashion juices flowing. So then for people who perhaps may want to start exploring whether it's one or two or multiple J fashion styles, what would be some advice you provide them?
it's a lot of taking an inventory of your closet and kind of looking at what you have and not just in the oh I have this shirt, but there's a lot of people that post videos where they're doing like style inspos and they're showing how to style a singular piece of clothing and like they'll take it and they'll be like this is one piece of clothing styled 5 ways and they'll show you how to tie the shirt so that it's now like a completely different blouse or how it's almost like a skirt now and like all kinds of crazy stuff. And so it's like take an inventory of your closet and really think about the pieces, think about the patterns, think about how you could change this fabric or change the way you wear this so that it's a new item. And also look at a lot of inspo pics to see how that relates. Like I'm constantly just looking at pictures of like street snaps and all kinds of things just to inspire me, whether it's in making things or in styling my like clothes myself. And I feel like you combine all of these things together and you can do a lot of the fashions as long as you have, clothes already. Now if you have a capsule wardrobe, it might be different. But uh like trying to figure it out on your own, it gives you like get those creative juices flowing. But and after that is when I would suggest to go like thrifting or whatever. But I wouldn't suggest to like buy anything from like brands or anything until you've started like playing with what you have. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you'll have a lot more than you give yourself credit for until you've actually like broke it down.
Yeah, and even like not nowadays, especially with like the emerging coquette themes and all that, cottage core as well. It's easy to get pieces from like a store in like a mall or something that could potentially work in like let's say if you want to wear Mori K.
Mhm.
So that I just think that's really cool and it's like it's so interesting to see not necessarily J fashion, but just definitely like J fashion inspired that can work or is relatable. How do you feel about that?
I'm always looking for things that are like J fashion adjacent.
Hmm.
Especially like blouses. Like actually yesterday I wore this like vintage nightgown top that I found at the thrift store for like $1.
Wow.
Like I'm constantly looking for blouses,
Hmm.
anything that is very like malleable, but also with like decora. Like I'm constantly looking for bold prints, and even if it's like something small, I'm like, this can be a part of something bigger.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I love looking from like a J fashion standpoint to kind of find things that could fit with
Hmm.
different categories. Or like just the other day I went to one of my favorite thrift stores, and I was in the pajama section and I found some stuff that is like 100% gyaru coated. So
Wow.
I was like, this is incredible. It's like brown with black stripe, like tiger print with like big blue hibiscus flowers
Oh,
all over
wow.
it. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? So, and I'm like, I don't even question it. I'm just like, thank you, thrift gods. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always get jealous when people find really good, like good finds like that in thrift stores. I tend to like go to um like vintage places. I mean, it tends to be on the pricier because it's like older pieces that they take care of. But out in the thrift wild, like a Gilla or something, I've never had luck. So
I
how
go through
Mhm.
everything.
So how do you balance your aesthetic variety when you're so interested in so many substyles?
So it's kind of a hot mess. Uh, so I have like three closets.
Oh wow. That's
And
convenient. It helps you
right,
organize.
right. I try to keep like sweaters together because there's a lot of very key is like sweaters.
Yeah, yeah.
Which really irritates me sometimes because like we only have sweater season for like 20 minutes in the morning in January, and that's it.
Mm.
After that, it's immediately hot. So there's been multiple occasions where I'm like, here's my cord, and then 5 minutes later I'm like, dear God. Which I'm really lucky because like I work at a library.
Hmm.
So it's usually pretty cold in there, so I can kind of get away with wearing a
Yeah.
sweater more often. But yeah, it's just this is not the climate for it. So I have to play with other things to kind of interchange with the sweaters and try and find like shirts that are like really cute patterned to kind of interplay with that. But I try to keep
Hmm.
like the knits folded over here. I try to keep my dresses hung by, normally they're in rainbow order. Right now, they're kind of in a mess because I just moved them all to a different closet. But like, I try to keep them almost with like their color. So
Mm.
you're gonna have a lot, like, you'll have some Gothic Lolita mixed in with like just other things in that realm, but you're gonna have a lot of Sweet Lolita mixed in with like a little bit of like I don't know, like the bimbo core dresses, anything that's in that pastel pink, they're gonna
Hmm.
kind of go together. So I just do it by color. So whatever the vibe is, I can just go to that color.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
And
awesome.
and then sometimes that's the best way because I won't even know what I want. I'll just know what the vibe is. And walking by, I'll find different things. And I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna mix this top with this skirt over here, and then I'm gonna put pants. And it'll just be something wild and it'll come out actually incredible. And I'm like, I'm so glad I did this.
Yeah, I feel like whenever people ask me like, "Oh, how do you do your chords?" I'm like, I just open my closet and let the vibes take hold.
I just let the spirit of style
You're
take
right.
me over.
The style gods are providing me their energy. They are telling me what to wear, what am I in the mood for, etc. Lately though, because I've been playing Infinity Nikki, I have
Mhm.
been having
Oh,
that
I love
more in the back of my mind. So I definitely do want to do like an outfit. like a look, like a cord of some sort. That would be something that like Nikki would wear in her world, even though she's probably like the strongest human being ever when she's running around in heels, jumping like nothing, no fall damage.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite memory or moment in the fashion that just really affirmed your love for the J fashion community?
So it's not really in J fashion, but
Mhm.
what kind of got me started is that like I will never forget, and it's kind of what just pushed me into the whole world. I was in like either like first or second grade,
Mhm.
and I was staying up because as long as I got up for school, it didn't really matter when I went to bed, which is I know a blessing, but I was like up way past my bedtime and I was watching TV. I was trying to find something to watch, but at a certain point at night, there's nothing on TV.
Yeah.
Um, I happened to go to Cartoon Network, which at the time, was Adult Swim,
Hmm.
and I saw Inuyasha for the first time.
Oh my.
And that was my first like interaction with anime, and that just sparked something because like I went off trying to find who is this cat boy because I didn't know he was like a half dog demon. And I'm in like first grade, so this is so
Revolutionary.
advanced.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there. Once I find it, I spend like months practicing the pronunciation of the names and like how to say Japanese words.
I love
Because
that.
for me, like I used to have a lot more of a southern twang in my speech,
Hmm.
but oh, it took a while. But once I got it, then I was just suddenly I was into Vampire Night and Tokyo Mew Mew and all of this, and I was just like,
Sailor Moon, like your
yes,
sweatshirts.
yes. Which I got this for like $3 at Ross,
Oh wow, it's really cute. I love it.
right? Yeah, so like it just exploded. I was just like I couldn't get enough at all, and um. It I really probably drove my mom and them crazy because I would be like the only place I could get because our internet was terrible. To watch a video, you would be there for like 2 or 3 hours for one like 15-minute segment because the
But
internet was atrocious.
yeah,
So I would just be begging my mother to take me to like for your entertainment so that I could get
yeah,
anything. And I just wanted to look like all these characters that were so cool in their like massive dresses or their like flowing kimonos and all of these like incredible things. And so that just kind of like core memory just sent me into the direction that I went.
I love that. I do think there's a lot of overlap with, like the anime community and like the J fashion community. And like, a lot of Lolitas may not like care for like anime, but I mean, it's in pop culture. Like, yeah. So I love that because I am also someone that really first like exposure to like J fashion is more so like because of like anime and such. So Mizzy, tell me more about consumerism in alt fashion. It's a very important subject which I feel like not a lot of people either want to admit or feel guilty of, especially like living in the US. Because everything is just like you were saying, everything's on demand. Like you can at your fingertips within a few minutes, Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever. So tell me of your thoughts and
Yeah, and there's like this pressure to have everything and to do everything, but there's also a pressure to have nothing and be minimalist. And so you can't do both. And if you have a lot of stuff, unless you're rich, if you're rich, the rules don't apply. But if you're poor or working class and you have a ton of stuff, you're a hoarder. Collectors are for rich people. So like there's this whole issue because like I know I borderline with that, frankly. I mean, I have three closets. Like it's
I think if you're like in any alternative space, like yeah, we kind of
yeah.
to a point, unfortunately, we're all like guilty of that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've never seen someone who likes J fashion that doesn't have like every surface area of their room covered with something, be it
Right.
bags, headdresses, shoes,
Posters.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's something people don't talk about, but I mean, I feel like more people should because I mean, I don't see there's a shame in having a lot of stuff, even if a lot of people do want you to feel bad about it. But it does say a lot when you do have a lot of stuff because
Mhm.
then you have to worry about how to take care of everything. And a lot of people don't want to admit when they have a lot or when they have too much.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
feel like we could have more people talking about like how to go through your closet and like weed it to see what you really don't need anymore. Because some people are like, yeah, I have this dress I got in 2002 and I haven't worn it since 2003. And you're like, why? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like at that point, give it to someone who'll use it. Because if you're not using it, and it's like, sure, there is a place for having stuff on a pedestal and just like on display forever. But if you're not using it for its intended purpose, does it, is it really being like useful? Is it really like okay? I don't know. I feel like there's like a certain level of if you're not using it, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and like also like with like certain sort of like hobbies, like, especially like if you're like into like anime figure collecting, for example, it can kind of be an addiction. And, obviously,
Especially with
like,
the gotchas.
oh my God, don't even get me started on the gotchas. Legalized casinos for kids. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Legalized casino. And like literally in like every mall, even like I've seen it in like sushi places, like Asian restaurants, there's always a gotcha of some sort. Bars, gotcha. And it's like, I thought casinos had a stigma. And then we have these online games like, like Infinity Nikki, like it's a gotcha game.
See, I was big on Nikki Love
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, but I was like I was up in the VIP because I was constantly spending money. Like every week I spent like maybe 20 or $30 minimum on that game. And even now I have a game that I play that it's almost unplayable now because all the whales that put money into it, but it's like it's a lot of gotchas and you really want to have the collection. You really want that one thing. And they do that like just let me buy the one thing. Like why does everything have to be a gotcha? Like I get it. They like money, but bruh, it's just like one item. Just sell the one item.
Yeah, yeah. And then like, obviously like depending on someone's like mindset or even potential like mental health issues that they might have, it just may turn into something that's not good for their own health and end up
Like you
their
see
whole
in the idol
savings.
culture.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's a tough conversation, but like Lolitas do, I mean, really any J fashion and like alt person should like just be wary of your spending, like do you really need to get that new dress? Like can you wait?
Right. And that's another one is the fear of missing out because like some brands like I don't know, like in the like Fairy Key and Spanky, like with Miss Alphabet,
Yeah.
like that's made with like vintage sheets. And like if she sells something and it's gone, like it's gone.
Right. Right.
And so there's this fear that if you don't get it, you can't find it later, or you won't be able to get one exactly like it. And you have to be okay with not having it. Like you have to be
Mhm.
okay with working with something similar or working with something else. But that can be so difficult because like we don't want to miss out. And so we push ourselves and like you can push yourself into debt, push yourself into other situations, or just trying to get like say like some of the brands they do like you spend X amount of money and we throw in this free like whatever.
Yeah.
And so people push to buy more things that they don't even want just so they can get that other thing.
Hmm.
And it can be such a hassle, and people don't really think about it because we have all these massive hauls, which I've been guilty of too, where I'm like, I just bought so much stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
but why did I buy so much stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Like me personally, like especially like with the, the talks with like the tariffs and everything, I've decided to go on a no buy until this tariff situation or whatever is like kind of more resolved. Because I there's a lot of brands that I buy from are Chinese and for on Taobao. I also like purchase like indie, especially when I go to like J fashion events. But like a lot of the stuff that a lot of the Chinese Lolita brands make, they just speak to me a little bit more than like Japanese brands. So I'm just like on the no buy until further notice. And yeah, like I sometimes want to break my no buy because it's like, dang, that looks so good. But it might not be there. But at the same time, it's like I'll be okay without it. Like I'll be okay. So I think especially like like younger people that may not have like a little bit more financial literacy um may not be able to kind of get that to their heads. So what would be some advice for like newer Lolitas that are feeling that FOMO and they just want to buy, 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 buy?
Well, I feel like a lot of it has to do with knowing the worth of an item because, like, I know the Lolita market itself has gotten like so messed up. um, where everything's a lot more expensive than it normally would be because it would normally
Mhm.
depreciate in value, but and there's a lot that goes into that. It feels like the stock market, but with Lolita. The lace market,
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
ding. Um, but it feels like knowing the value of something and knowing that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, but you
Right.
can't make it be. Like you shouldn't go into debt for a gloomy bear plush. Like that's crazy. And you should understand if it's sold for $50 and there's someone on Macari selling it for $300, that person is a jerk. That person is a scalper. Don't give them your money. Heck,
Yeah.
you might not even get the plush. Like
Yeah.
people are like, and it's just like know the worth of an item and have the patience to just wait for it. Like set up alerts to see when it comes up somewhere and see what the price is. Because like you have to think about what is this actually valued at and not like contributing to the market in a way that it's like that's not worth that. You're just blowing money on something, you know?
Hmm. Right. Yeah. I mean, I really hope people like realize, like yes, we're in a niche fashion and compared to like the general of things, it's smaller. The brands are smaller, the amount of Lolitas is smaller. Um, but that doesn't mean that, you have to hurt yourselves to participate in this fashion. Like at the end of the day, we're people wearing pretty clothes and it's
Right.
about the community aspect, not necessarily like the closet, like how big is and how beautifully curated a closet for Instagram or social media. Like that's not what's the important part. The important part is you as a person. I mean, sure, you can have like a curated closet, etc. But don't go into depth for it.
Right. And it feels like people have to look and kind of not the does it spark joy because there are days when nothing sparks joy,
Right.
but but like kind of looking at it and be like, okay, I have this pink dress. Do I need this pink dress? And like think about what you already have because there's so many people. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, where you have like 15 dresses that if you took like maybe 20 steps back and like if I took my glasses off, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference, really. Like,
Although all of my dresses are pink, so I can't talk.
right. It's like, and it's a problem, but it's like, you gotta, I don't know. It's like the plus and minus of it, I guess, the pros and
Right. Yeah. Wow. So this was such a great conversation, Mizzy. I really appreciated it. I really love, talking about these sorts of topics. And just as a reminder, everyone, Mizzy did sign up to be here on Frill Talk. So if you want to be on a future episode with me, there is a Google form in which you can fill out, and you might be here on a future Frill Talk episode. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate our conversation. This has been Marina Frill Talk, and thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.